Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news live at 10 o'clock. I'm not having any of this, it's 30 seconds late. If it's 10 o'clock and not 10:01, I'm on time. So, look, how are we all doing this morning? Lots to get into. Of course, we're going to be talking about Timber. We're going to be talking about Kamara. We're going to be talking about Torres. We're going to be talking about James Garner. We're going to be talking a little bit about Paul Pogba, but I don't really want to talk about Paul Pogba because I think he's the past and we need to look to the future. We'll also be talking about Erik ten Hag and why he picked Steve McLaren and why the club may have been wanting him to keep Mike Phelan. So lots to get into this morning. But the first thing we're going to talk about this morning is Jurrien Timber, a player that many a Manchester United fan want to bring to the club at the moment, and certainly a player that I think we are going to be bringing to the club. I don't have any reason to think that's not the case at the moment. I think the most important thing to say here is that Manchester United are definitely moving quickly, and one of the more exciting things for me is that the information I had yesterday morning, other people had it as well. Other people I know in the industry who put stuff out yesterday afternoon and stuff like that with exactly the same information I got from my guy yesterday morning, was that Manchester United have agreed terms with Timber and are now working with Ajax on a deal. And that is going on at the moment. Now, this story, you can take it with a pinch of salt if you want. I'm going to use it as just a tweet that you can see. Matt Bailey, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for joining. But Ajax want 35 million euros for Jurrien Timber. Now, I'm not saying that that's a great sauce or anything like that. You can do what you like with that sauce. You can put it on your bacon sandwich if you want. If you're vegetarian, put it on your bread. But the reality is, this is where we're heading. I said this last night. We're heading here now. We're heading into the area whereby we're going to see Manchester United start moving towards a fee for Timber, and I think that will be somewhere, as I said yesterday, between 25 million and 35 million. Well, that 35 million euros is about 30 million pounds. I'll be over the moon with that. If we can get Timber for 30 million pounds, I'd be very, very happy with that. I suppose the most important thing to say is what's the timeline? People will want to know the timeline of transfers. It's something that becomes really important to fans when we're dealing with the deal here. Look, as I said yesterday, I'm 70% sure we'll get Timber. I'm not moving any higher at the moment. You could easily go 80%. I saw Beth going 90% yesterday. I've got to say I wouldn't go that high, but the reality is I would be very confident about this deal at the moment. I don't believe anybody else is in the race. I think Manchester United, I know Manchester United have agreed terms with Timber. He wants to come to United, and Ajax will be open to the sale as things stand at the moment. My only reservation would maybe be that the longer it goes, the more issues can develop. Interestingly, Samuel Luckhurst from the Manchester Evening News has said that Manchester United want a centre-back. Torres is under consideration, but Ten Hag has more or less said that Timber's the one that he wants. So a lot of the British press are now getting on board with it as well. It's an interesting one. I mean, I'd almost want to do a poll here. I don't know whether we did it yesterday. I don't know whether we've done it before, but I'm intrigued by Torres or Timber, and I want to know some people's thoughts on this, because I'm sure Timber's going to win the poll, but ultimately Torres is a better centre-back than Timber. I think that's without doubt in relation to where his career is at the moment. He's a full Spanish international. He's one of the best centre-backs in La Liga. He's played in a Champions League semi-final. He's won a Europa League Cup. He's a and he's a left-sided centre-back as well. He's left-footed. In many ways, there's nothing wrong with Torres. Nothing wrong with Torres at all. But as you can see in the poll already, United fans have made their mind up. It's a little bit like Pochettino again. In fact, it's very similar to Pochettino versus Ten Hag. Pochettino's CV was good, and there's no doubting he's a good coach. But we all wanted Ten Hag. And I think with this again, Torres is good. And you probably get outsiders going, what are these United fans drinking? How are they massively going for Timber over Torres? Torres is a good centre-back. And I think we all agree. We all agree Torres is a good centre-back, and we would be very happy with him. But I think Timber could be a complete flop, but he symbolises what Ten Hag symbolises. It's a fresh start. We know it's not going to happen overnight. We know we've got to build something. And in 2 or 3 years with Timber, he's still only going to be approaching his mid-20s and could be one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League, playing with a really good United side. And I think Timber reflects a rebuild. There's a risk in a rebuild, but he does reflect that. And also, most importantly, he's what Erik ten Hag wants as well. Timber plus De Jong equals 100 million. Pau Torres plus Bizoma/Neves, says Michael. There we go. Thank you very much for the super chat there, Michael. Get your thoughts in if you want to. Welcome to the Members Club. I think I've already done that, but Matt Bailey, welcome to the Members Club. If you want to join the Members Club, we'll be putting a poll out today on the community tab. What video you want as your exclusive video this week. There's some good choices. Just click the join button. You get your badge next to your name. And thanks for supporting the channel. You choose Timber, you're guessing, says Robert McCormack. Yeah, I mean, look, I respect Robert. I think everyone respects Robert in the chat. Doesn't always have the same opinions as me or other people, but we are guessing on Timber. I think Robert's right. You go with Torres, he's got the better CV, he's 100%, and he's left-footed. You go with Timber, you are guessing. You're guessing. But I think United, I think the genius of, well, not genius, I think the attraction of guessing Roberts is that you look at it and you go, well, we know it's going to take a bit of time, so let's try something that could grow into something really special. Martin, welcome to the Members Club. Martin McAllister there. So that's where we are with Timber. Price apparently agreed that Ajax will take 35 million euros, which is around 30 million pounds, which hits right in the middle of what I said yesterday. I think United want to pay 25 million. Ajax want 35 million. I reckon the deal will be done for about 32. So that's where I'm going. I mean, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But as long as it's around 30 million, that's a very good deal for Timber. Some might say it's a little bit over the top. To pay 30 million pounds for a centre-back who's playing for Ajax is a lot of money, which is why I think we need to pin it down to 30. Maybe put a few add-ons in there. And of course, one of the big things, as Stig says there, Timber knows Erik ten Hag's system, which is a huge positive. And I don't think anybody could really deny that. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about is, let me just put you this up on the screen. I want to talk about this. I think it's a good thing to talk about. So maybe read that, and we'll come to that in a minute because I want to know what your thoughts are. Welcome to Members Club, Carl Dawson. And the best part of this is that the players want to follow Erik ten Hag. He clearly commands respect, which is exactly what we need. And Akil says, hello, Mark. After watching Villarreal in the Champions League, they do play with a deep line and a low block. I'm afraid of another Maguire situation. Akil, I almost want to applaud you. I almost want to stand up and clap. But that's like a that's like a Paul Hollywood handshake on the Great British Bake Off. And I'm not quite there with Akil on that one because it has been said before. But it's a very good point to bring into this show. Torres plays a deep line with Villarreal. We want to play a high line. So ultimately, would Torres suit our system? Are we in a position to gamble on players, says Panini? I think we are, if they're what Erik ten Hag wants. I did a video this morning, you might not have watched it, it went up quite early, only 6 minutes long, watch it after here, what Ten Hag must not do. There's something in there that sort of fits in with what you've said there. Timber, De Jong, Spence or Sosa, Nunez or Nkunku, Eriksson or Lema, Kamara, says Sehan. Well, thank you very much, Samhan. He's been a member for 10 months. You're going to move me on to my next story now. Kamara of Marseille, a player that many of you and even I have put in sometimes as a free transfer that can play in the midfield. Development around him. He's going to make his decision and it's expected to be Atletico Madrid. This came out this morning. Atletico Madrid have apparently won the race for Kamara. So the Kamara in everybody's transfer, fantasy transfers that everyone's doing at the moment. Let's get Timber, let's get Kamara. He's free. The reality is that Kamara looks like he's going to go to Atletico Madrid and it could be announced very, very soon. Remember, he's out of contract with Marseille. He is a completely free transfer. Early 20s, centre defensive midfielder. Marseille, Kamara, off to Atletico Madrid on a free transfer. This is the story this morning. Now, it will disappoint people, but let's not forget something here. Cut through the disappointment, Manchester United were offered Kamara for £5 million in January and said no. We have finished in an embarrassing situation in the Premier League. We're going to get our lowest ever Premier League's point total. And Manchester United in January said no to Zakaria and no to Kamara. I mean, ultimately, I'd have said yes to a Northampton Town centre defensive midfielder. But United said no to Kamara and no to Zakaria. We are not in the race for Kamara. Whether you like that or not, it's disappointing, but we didn't go for him in January, and we've not gone for him now. We're not in the race. We haven't offered him anything. We've refused to get involved in the race. I'm not saying many of you are wrong. Many of you wanted him, but United have not entered this race, and we can't lose a race we're not in. It's the same as Tchouaméni. We're not in the race for Tchouaméni. We've never really been in for Tchouaméni. We've scouted him, but we've never made a move. Even last summer, we've never really made a conscious effort to try and get him. Torres equals 60 million, or Timber and Botman equals 60 million. Linked with Botman today. He came through Ajax youth, left-footed but looks slow. Dutch Maguire, says Keith Garner. I don't believe the Botman stories. I was told they're a load of rubbish. Welcome to Members Club, Carl Dawson. Thank you very much for joining. Yeah, I don't believe the Botman stories. I believe we'll buy one centre-back, and I think that centre-back will be Timber. I believe our centre-backs next season will be Timber, Lindelof, Varane and Maguire. I think Jones and Bay will go. I think Eric Ten Hag wants him. That's why we should go with Timber. Otherwise, Torres also play high line. Look at him in Spain and first half against Liverpool, second leg, says Jay. And morning, Mark. I'd be happy with either Torres or Timber, but I think Torres would cost twice as much, and he isn't twice the player. 30 million for Timber is an absolute steal, says United. And again, I mean, I'm almost going to stand up and clap that. That's a very good point as well. We are living in a transfer window now whereby we don't have an infinite amount of money. We do have a lot of money to spend, but we need to spend it in so many different areas. I think if you were manager of Manchester United and Man United said you can spend whatever you like, 500 million, a billion, you can spend whatever you like, you'd probably buy 10 players. Like you would. Let's be honest. If you were Manchester United manager and the board said you can spend whatever you like, and you go, what about financial fair play? Don't worry about it. We're going to do a PSG and City. We'll get away with it. Okay, fine. You can spend what you like, yeah? The reality is that I would want at least one centre-back. I want another left-back. I want a right-back. That's 3 straight away from the back 4. 2 midfielders, so that's 5. And I want 2 attackers as well. So 7 straight away. I want 7 players straight away. And that's me being probably conservative. I might want a couple of bench players as well. So, look, you're going to spend a lot of money. You can't do that. So it makes total logical sense that when you've got an option between Torres for 50 million or maybe 55 million and Timber for 30 million, you're going to go for Timber because that 25 million you spend can be spent better elsewhere. It's a farce. We said no to Kamara. Typical state of the club. Honestly, in today's market, 35 million is nothing for a top quality proven centre-back in Timber, says Ryan. And my new grandson, William Jacob, born end of March and has his kit ready when he's out of hospital. Thanks, Mark. Great show always, says Tracy Taylor. Congratulations on William. And another new United fan. Hopefully, William will grow up in an era of success. So we can all hope for that, I think. So, you can see it on the screen. I wanted you to digest this. This is coming from Oliver Kay. Manchester United's hierarchy were initially unsure about Ten Hag's proposal to appoint Steve McClaren and urged him to consider the merits of Mike Phelan. Ten Hag stood firm and was certain McClaren would be an important appointment alongside Mitchell van der Gaag. So that's from Oliver Kay, who's a journalist in the UK. And look, if there's any truth in that, obviously that's going to be something to cheerlead even more about Steve McClaren. But he goes on to say that Steve McClaren, Eric Ten Hag wants Steve McClaren to be an active member of that coaching team on the grass every day, but also to act as a sounding board and to help him deal with whatever unexpected problems lie at Manchester United. Or whatever Manchester United throw at him. So I think that's look, I think that's an interesting story. I think some people are a little bit concerned why we've gone for Steve McClaren, and I think that ultimately, a little bit like the conversation we've had about Timber, and a little bit like the conversations we'll be having all summer about players that Ten Hag wants, I think we're absolutely correct to critique every signing. You know, I don't give Eric Ten Hag what he wants, but I think we've championed too many bad signings over the last 9 years, so we need to critique the signings and look at the pros and the cons. And I don't mind people critiquing Steve McClaren, but ultimately it's what Eric Ten Hag wants, and Mike Phelan needs to move on. I mean, unfortunately, I've got no doubt that the players trusted Phelan and Carrick and Ollie and McKenna, but I don't think they believed in them. I don't think they believed when they were going off to their international teams, or they remembered other coaching at previous clubs before United. They would have known that the coaching wasn't up to standard. With Eric Ten Hag, he's a disciplinarian. He's a tactical, on the training ground coach. You listen to some of the ex-players of Ten Hag or the current players, and there's not a lot of people coming out talking about his man management skills. And I think Ollie was obviously good at man management. You know, he put a smile on his face and told everything was... I mean, you could argue Ollie was bad at man management. It's not good man management to tell Dean Henderson, Jesse Lingard, Donny van der Beek, Eric Bailly and Juan Mata that you're all going to get game time and not give them game time. That's weak man management. That's telling people what they want to hear and then not doing it. So maybe he wasn't such a good man manager. But Erik ten Hag is not meant to be that. That's not what his thing is. So I think Steve McClaren is basically going to be what Steve McClaren was for England under Sven-Göran Eriksson, what he was for Sir Alex. He's going to be the... And I think some people are a little confused why Erik ten Hag has done this. Erik ten Hag wants somebody like Steve McClaren because he wants somebody to basically be the go-between between him and the players. The man that really is on the training ground, talking to the players, relationship, can find out what the issues are. That's what an assistant coach is all about. That really is what an assistant coach is about. The manager is not there to put the arms around the shoulder. He's there to manage and be the disciplinarian. And I think that's what Ten Hag is setting up. And obviously Ten Hag is a lot more comfortable with McClaren than he would be with Phelan, who would be a stranger. So it's about trust. So the right things happen there. Akshay says, regarding Nunez, do you think we should go for Nkunku over Nunez as he brings a different profile as a forward, as we still have a top-notch Ronaldo? Akshay, I personally, I don't know. I've got to be honest, I'm so focused on the midfield and I'm so focused on the defence that I've not really focused on the attack. I'll be absolutely honest on that one. I don't know what I prefer between Nkunku and Nunez. I probably would side with Nkunku, but I'd be happy with either. 5 subs from next season. We need quality on the bench, says Pratak. That's a great point. Well made. Very good point made. Well made. Glenn says, Ten Hag knows the saying, you have to get behind someone before you can stab them in the back, hence surrounding himself with people he trusts. Great point, Glenn. We're getting some great points in this morning. Welcome to the Members Club, Jivan. Welcome, Misbah. Thank you very much for joining the Members Club there. If you want to do that, click the join button, which is at the top of the live chat or probably below the video. You can vote today on your latest exclusive video, which we'll be putting up tomorrow. Right, the next thing I wanted to talk about, just very quickly, just want to talk about this. We'll put it up on the screen. It's from Dimarzio. Remember when Dimarzio was like tier 1? I mean, I'm not saying he's not tier 1 anymore, but I remember, what was the summer with Dimarzio? It was the Pogba summer. It was Mkhitaryan, Zlatan and Pogba. So 6 summers ago, he was the original Dimarzio. He was the original. I mean, Romano sort of came in and just was a pimped up Dimarzio. Dimarzio was the original. He was the first sort of foreign journalist that had really good connects around the Premier League and Man United. And I think Romano used to work under Dimarzio. Like Dimarzio, he was one of his, journalists. So yeah, I always have an affection for Dimarzio because I always remember that summer. So Dimarzio is saying Pogba has decided that he will leave Manchester United this summer. I don't have any doubts about that. Any news about a CDM mark with Matic now leaving and all that we haven't got one? I'll come back to that, Malps. Price-wise, I would say Timber, but opposite based on what I know of would be Torres. It's a Slow Sports News. And Glenn is the legend of the chat. He's just gifted 5 United Stand memberships. Thanks, Glenn. And if you got one, check it out. Check out our exclusive content on the homepage. And you get a little badge next to your name as well. Glenn with the legend status this morning. Thank you very much, Glenn. The next thing I just wanted to put up as well, just an example of Romano coming in after Dimarzio here. Paul Pogba has definitely turned down Man City, while Juventus have been clear they won't offer same salary as PSG, but he'd be a key player. He's tempted and taking his time. Talks still ongoing with both clubs. Look, I don't really have a lot to say about Paul Pogba. I think it's time to go. I thought it was time to go last summer. I thought it was time to go the summer before. It's not a toxic thing. It's just, I think it's time to part ways, Manchester United and Paul Pogba. I'll watch his career with interest when he's gone. I wouldn't say I'd want him to be successful with the club he goes to. I wouldn't say I don't want him to be successful. I'm indifferent to that. But I certainly don't have any bad feeling towards Paul Pogba. I wish it had worked out at United. I think he's got a big part to play in that, as well as the club. But it's definitely time to go. And the sooner we can put a line under Paul Pogba at Man United, the better. I feel like this season he's not really been here. Last season he's not really been here. He's only played half a season the last 2 seasons, hasn't he? So it feels like he's not really a United player anymore anyway. There's a detachment there from the player, and there's definitely a detachment there from the fans. So let's get that deal done and move him on, basically. Mark, does it bother you that this club created a whole generation of multi-millionaire footballers with no real ambition and no trophies to show for it, says Julian. Well, it does bother me. It's always bothered me. I don't know about you. It's always bothered me that effectively every Saturday or Sunday, we, as mere mortals, put our hands in 11 in the hands of put our emotions, in the hands of 11 multimillionaires who really don't care about the club as much as we do. I mean, if you actually dissected football and put it like that, millions of United fans every weekend put their emotion in the hands of multimillionaires who don't care about the club as much as we do. You're on hiding to nothing, aren't you? But it didn't used to be like that. When I used to watch United through the 90s and the noughties, we didn't always win the league, but you knew that those 11 players were as passionate and as hungry for success as you, the fans, were. Sometimes more hungry and passionate, to be fair. Look, that to me would be, if I could have 5 minutes with the Glazers or Richard Arnold, I would say, look, the simplest problem with Manchester United is this. There is a detachment between the fans and the players. The fans are in the hands of these multimillionaire players who seem more interested in their own ego, their own social media, what's going off the pitch. They don't come across like they care about United. They don't even pretend to fake it, and you can't fake it anyway. You can see it on every match. And that's the problem with United, because it never used to be like that. Hi Mark, hope he's all well. Started my new job today. I'm nervous. Who would you sign first? Says Corey. Well, good luck in your new job, Corey. I'm sure you'll be fine. And who would I sign first? I don't really care who we sign first. I'd like to get that De Jong deal done. I think that would be a great start to the summer. But I'm not really bothered who we get first, as long as we get everybody we need in before we go on tour. Chris, welcome to the Members Club. And if PSG came in and offered £60 million for Rashford, would you do it? I like Rashford. I hope he stays. But he's had his chance after chance after chance as United. I've already said, I'm not going to dwell on that, United, Andre. 100% I would take 60 million for Rashford. I think that would be a great deal for Rashford. It's a bit like what I said about Henderson yesterday. If we get 30 million from Newcastle for Dean Henderson, it's a great deal for Newcastle, it's a great deal for Henderson, and it's a great deal for us. If we got 60 million from PSG for Rashford, it's a great deal for Rashford, it's a great deal for PSG, and it's a great deal for us. I would be all over that. And I think it is time to part ways. My thing with Rashford is, and I've said it for a long time, Daniel Kirk says next year instead of the Champions League, Varane should we call him Conference League Varane, says Daniel Kirk. Welcome to the Members Club, Akshay. Welcome to the Members Club, The Last Frontier. And East End says, these group of players remind me of the Spice Boys that played for Liverpool in the early 2000s. Well, who remembers the 96 FA Cup final when the Spice Boys turned up in their cream suit and got beat by the double-winning United 96 side, Cantona. Anyway, welcome to the Members Club, Jeffrey. What I was going to say about Rashford is, I think Rashford's 25 this year, isn't he? I always think of Rashford as 21, and I think there's a hint there that, can Rashford really turn this around? Of course you can turn it around at 25, of course you can. But I do worry, and I've always said that the issue you've got is that the last 3 years under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Mourinho to a certain extent, Martial, Rashford, McTominay, Bruno, the list goes on. They've just not been developed. We haven't developed players over the last 3 years. Look at Liverpool, look at Man City, even look at Chelsea. Their players are developing under really good coaching. We've not developed players. And you can say what you like about Rashford and you can say what you like about Martial, and they haven't delivered. But also, in those key years between 20 and 25, they've lost 3 years of development. And you may never get that back, because what you learn between 20 and 25, you utilise between 25 and 35 for your prime years. And Rashford's just not developed. He's closing his eyes on headers. His final ball's poor. He's running into cul-de-sacs. His passing is not good. Now, hopefully Ten Hag can improve that, but it's like doing that with a 25-year-old is not as easy as doing it with someone when they're 22. And he might never get that back. So, I know, I personally think a change of scenery would be best for all, but I think he'll be given a chance, and I hope he can turn it around. Slow Sports News has just gifted 5 United Stand memberships live on the United Stand Morning Show. So thank you very much to Slow Sports News. If you benefited, make sure you give him a thank you. Or her. Hi Mark, why do we think of all of a sudden the board is going to listen to Rangnick and Ten Hag and get the players they demand? Says Darshan. Because we've got a different board and a different setup. If it was Ed Woodward in the house, I would completely agree with you on that one. But I think that with the new manager, the new CEO in Richard Arnold, and there's been a conscious effort to put it out there publicly that United are looking to make it more about the football, then let's wait and see. You make a good point. There may be no change. I think there's a lot of United fans out there at the moment who are definitely feeling that things could still be as bad as they have been for the last 9 years. In fact, the evidence is it will be. I mean, if we're doing a percentage here, what's the percentage chance that United are going to change what they've been like for the last 9 years? I'd like to say it's 50-50, but it's certainly, going based on the last 9 years, you'd expect us to be crap this transfer window. But there is a buzz, there is a feeling of optimism, and let's just see what happens. What on earth are we going to do with Martial next year? Shocking loan with injuries, huge wage, no one will pay 30 million for him and take on 200k per week, says Shuddy. Look, the loan deals haven't worked. Donny at Everton has been a bloody nightmare, and the only positive with Donny is that Ten Hag's coming in, so he will get another chance. Martial, I mean, they're meant to be putting themselves in the shop window. Mohammed says, I think we should get De Jong, Timber, Nunez and push to get Kamara and Eriksen on the free. Any thoughts? Says Mohammed. Yeah, tune in on time because Kamara's going to Atletico Madrid. The club failed those players just as much as the players failed the club for the lack of their development. I agree, Arjun. Welcome to the Members Club, Larry. Now, talking about development, I do just want to put this up on the screen for you as well. I think you might find it quite interesting because he played last night. It was a big result for James Garner last night. Forest winning on penalties. They're now in the playoff final, where James Garner will be playing at Wembley a week on Sunday. I'm sure a lot of you will be watching it. I may even do a watch along for him. But welcome to the Members Club, Mayrish. And I think Rashford deserves next season, says Matthew Morello. We can't forget how technically good he is. Well, I have forgotten how technically good he is, to be honest, Matthew. I have. I think he's technically terrible at the moment. His passing's terrible, his dribbling's terrible, his final ball is terrible. So we have forgotten, but hopefully he can rediscover that form. But this is coming from Samuel Luckhurst from the Manchester Evening News. If Nottingham Forest are promoted to the Premier League, then a conversation is expected as to whether James Garner stays for a season as a regular in the Premier League. Now, I've been on about this for a while, and I think that it's really important to remember that with regards to Manchester United, that you can say, let's give James Garner a chance, but ultimately, what is a chance? Is he going to start games for Manchester United next season? I very much doubt so. Is he going to be on the bench next season? Potentially. What's better for James Garner's development? To play regular Premier League football week in, week out, or to be sat on the bench for United playing a little bit of Europa League football if he's lucky? And I think that I've always said I would say let's just go with that loan move if it's possible. But I don't think that I think so much probably depends on that game. Look, I've got to be honest. If Forest get promoted and they want Garner, I would go on loan for a year. They'll get relegated, let's be honest, but he will get to play Premier League football, and that 1 year of playing 30 Premier League games or 38 Premier League games will be massive for him compared to training with United and playing Europa League games. So that's what I would be looking to do if I was United. But look, there's a lot of if, buts and maybes there. In fact, let's do a little poll on that. James Garner next season, loan, keep. Just a quick... I mean, I know there's a little bit of depth to there, because keep could mean keep, but he never plays, he's on the bench. Loan could mean loaning to the Championship. But what I mean by that is, would you rather loan Garner to a Premier League club and he plays 30, 38 games, or would you rather keep him at Man United where he hardly ever plays, but he's on the bench? So let me know what you think on that. And welcome to the Members Club, Eddie Sheehan. Appreciate that for joining. So, if you tuned in a little bit late, I don't know why you've tuned in a little bit late, because it's 10 a.m. live every weekday morning on the dot now. No, none of this 10:07. And yeah, just a quick summary of the headlines then. Timber, a fee has been agreed, according to one outlet. This is agreed at around £30 million. We'll wait and see. But what I'm liking is that the person I spoke to yesterday morning is obviously very close to the deal, because other people are now mentioning the same story, which I had as well, which is that United have agreed a deal with Timber and are now negotiating with Ajax for a fee. That fee is believed to be between United's 25 million and Ajax's 35 million. So hopefully around 30 million quid there. Kamara, a lot of you talk about Kamara as a free signing. United rejected Kamara in January. They've never gone back in. Apparently he's going to Atletico Madrid. So that's the latest we have on that. Nothing new on De Jong at the moment. A few people asking about De Jong. Nothing new on him at the moment. Obviously Barcelona. I personally was thinking about that last night, and I think that Barcelona president coming out saying that they're trying to raise money, I think it's a smokescreen. I think United and Barcelona are negotiating a price, and Barcelona wants 70, we want to pay 60, and there's a little bit of gameplay going on there, so we'll see what happens. But Braden says, in a structured team that has its style, I firmly believe a couple of our underperforming players will start to shine again. Thank you very much, Braden, for the super chat there, and GB with a super chat as well. Thank you very much. 70% of you would say loan James Garner, 30% say keep. So I'd say that's probably where I'd be with that. I work nights, 2:30 a.m. in LA, and you make my shift go quicker. Thanks for the amazing content, says Jose Frias. Well, thank you very much. Of course, in the centre-back situation, Samuel Luckhurst himself mentioned, who did he mention? Torres. So look, there may well be a deal there that can be done with Torres. We won't be buying two centre-backs, by the way. I've seen this mentioned a little bit. Let's get Torres and let's get Timber. I'm not saying that would be the wrong thing to do. I'm not saying that would be the wrong thing to do at all. But what I am saying is that is a luxury we don't have. We've got Varane, cost us a lot of money last summer. We've got Maguire, cost us a lot of money. We're not going to buy two new centre-backs and bench Varane and Maguire. Maybe we will get another centre-back next summer, but I think for this summer, it will just be one that we need to make. So yes. We will be back at live at 2 o'clock, by the way. But I'm just going to pin this at the top of the chat for you, and there's another super chat coming in here as well. I uploaded a video this morning. I'm just going to pin it at the top that you can watch straight after this. It's only 6 minutes long. Is it true that De Jong transfer has to happen before June for Barca's financial situation, says Aritro? Yes, Barcelona need to raise money fast, and I believe it is by the end of June. So let's wait and see with that. Michael says, United playing Conference League or Europa League, so better for him to learn under Ten Hag and play 10 games and integrate into his system than 30 games in another starting anew, says Michael. Well, I disagree, Michael. I mean, I think playing Europa League football with the team that's not the first team, you may as well be playing 30 games in the Premier League. I mean, the standard of opposition in the Europa League group stage is not going to be the same as playing in the Premier League. If Garner was to go on loan to Forest in the Premier League, if they get promoted, he'll be playing against Man City, he'll be playing against Liverpool, he'll be playing against Chelsea. So, look, I don't think there's a right and wrong answer. I think there's just an opinion, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? Okay, so I've pinned the video at the top of the chat. If you haven't seen it, it's only 6 minutes long, and it's a nice continuation from this. Just a short video I did about 3 things Ten Hag must not do this summer. I think you'll find it interesting. So that's pinned at the top of the chat for you. Go and check that out. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back at 2 o'clock live. We're 7 o'clock again tonight, not 8 o'clock, because I am doing a watch along for the Europa League final. Rangers, come on. So yeah, 7 o'clock tonight, 2 o'clock, and check out the video I put up this morning. It's only very short. Let me know what your thoughts are. Ten Hag must not do this. It's on the homepage as well. Thanks for watching. Take